Welcome back to the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio for another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. It is week one, Wednesday, week one. We're going to be out there watching practice in just a little bit. We're going to see everybody that's out there, that's not out there, and start getting a feel for maybe what the plan is going to look like this week against the Arizona Cardinals. We'll be breaking down all of that action on NewOrleans.Football. Make sure you signed up there. Use the code NOF, 20% off your first payment. There's extra podcasts there. We're live during the game, reacting to it. We have all your news, all your analysis. There's a story up there right now where we had Teron Armstead watch Alatali Fuaga and Kelvin Banks' snaps from the preseason and offer his scouting reports on what he's seeing, the things they do well, the things they don't do well. We got a podcast up there with Ross Jackson that's only available for the. If you're not signed up, I don't know what you're doing. Like, there is just so much work there that you're not getting, so much information that you're not getting, and it's stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. All right. We are coming to you from the studio. If you're in the market for a new car, it's right next door to Matt Bauer's state-of-the-art Ford dealership. Go check out Matt there. Tell him NOF sent you. And if you want to celebrate your fandom beyond the field, Keesler Federal is proud to be the official credit union sponsor of the New Orleans Saints. They're a not-for-profit organization, meaning their members always come first. You can enjoy lower fees, better rates, and everything else Saints fans need to help you get one step closer to living your dreams. Our first topic today is brought to you by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Who do you think the Saints are counting on the most in week one?
All right. This is a little different than the MVP discussion that you and Ross had, because this is matchup driven. This is other guys who might be out of the lineup. I have an obvious choice if Alontae Taylor is out or limited. We don't know yet if Alontae Taylor has a chance to play, but I feel good about this pick either way. I'm going to say Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's probably going to get matched up most often against Marvin Harrison. I don't think he'll shadow him, but if Alontae Taylor's in the slot, I think Marvin Harrison's going to be working the outside nickel downs. I think Kool-Aid needs to show that he's ready to be, cornerback one, quarterback two. And I just don't think they can let Marvin Harrison get untracked. Like, this could be the Marvin Harrison year, 1 year later, where he finally explodes and everybody remembers that he was like the surest of sure things at wide receiver in a decade. And I don't think, I think Kool-Aid, they need to make the Cardinals work for everything they can do. We can't be seeing 75, 80-yard touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, the answer is Alontae. And I think runaway answer Alontae, because either if he doesn't play, it changes their game plan. Yeah. So they're counting on him to play, and then if he gets into the game, I think they're counting on him even more. And it's just that matchup. Like, when they would go against like elite tight ends, they would often have Jalen Ramsey on the elite tight end on third down. I think that's a matchup that they want to have. This is an obvious elite tight end in this game. If you don't have him, then you're putting a lot of stress on your scheme to stop him. The pattern match stuff, I think, puts you in some situations, but I think it was in 21 when they were playing the Chiefs, like Kelsey was just like sitting underneath it. He hits it. It's a 61-yard gain on one play, 51 or 61-yard gain on a play. So like an elite tight end is going to be able to find those softer spots in that. And I think their setup is set up to defend tight ends pretty well with their scheme, but like this is an obvious situation where I think you would put Alontae on him. You could try to do it with Ugo, but now you gotta bracket him with probably a safety as well. I think there's some snaps where you trust Alontae to do it, but then beyond that, even if Ugo's on him, like, can Ugo? And I'm not saying anything like slick here, but I trust Alontae Taylor to make a one-on-one tackle on a big hulking tight end probably as much or more than anybody on this team. He's a powerful tackler. Like, it's one of his better traits. At the beginning of his career, the aggressiveness with his tackling was probably a drawback. I feel like he's harnessed that quite a bit over the last couple of years. I think he's the guy. He's the guy for me, like, far and away. And I think it changes your game plan, like the with or without. So, like, just in a different macro sense, like, and I think he plays. Like, my bet today before we see practice is that he does play this week. They do have that matchup, and I think his ability to perform within it is going to be the thing that probably dictates whether they win or lose. Like, if you can cut the head off of Trey McBride, defending Harrison becomes easier. Defending Dortch out of the slot becomes easier. Like, everything becomes easier if you have that taken care of. And it might just be a third down thing even, but like, if you can cut the head off him, like the snake dies maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kool-Aid might have been my pick even if Alante is playing. Kool-Aid's definitely the pick if Alante's not playing. But, God, just the fact that those are the first two guys we thought. I mean, look, you're not always going to face Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride with every team. But every team's usually got two weapons. I like Kool-Aid and Alante, but man, oh man, are they flying without a parachute at corner? I kind of want to flip over to the offensive side of the ball, but like I've got like a three-way tie between three offensive tackles, so I'm going to go with a subtle choice for my second choice. I'm going to say Devon Godchaux. I think if the Saints are going to be better than expected this year, it's because Godchaux, the new addition in the middle of the defense, Brandon Staley, the new scheme. If they're good at running the ball, they can turn games into or stopping the run. They can turn games into one-score games. He was sort of the most promising development of the offseason for me. If they come in here and they just shut down the run game and make the Cardinals one-dimensional, I think we could be talking after the game about how Godchaux helped make this game more competitive and made the Saints a better run defense.
For me, it's the same vein. It's a three-headed monster, really. And James Conner might be like the biggest hat on the monster. If he's not, he's second. And I think line defense of that is Godchaux 1, so it's a good pick. And then line 2 of that is Justin Reed making tackles in space, and their safeties not making tackles in space last year was a huge issue. And that's a way that 3-4 yard gain turns into 8, and now all of a sudden that average is way up, and you take away the explosive run plays. Like, that is something that I think absolutely has to happen. So it's both those guys. And it's interesting that, like, we're just kind of keying in on defense here.
Yeah.
And I think the thought process is, if they're going to win this game, the defense has to, like, really show out, because they aren't going to – I don't think they have the overcome power on offense until we see it. I'm not giving them that benefit of doubt. So, yeah, I mean, like, all my picks on this list are really on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, if I had to pick an offensive player, I'd pick Eric McCoy, who's also in that team MVP conversation. I mean, he needs to make the line work. He needs to call out the defense on behalf of the young quarterback who's starting. He needs to, lead the way in the run game. He needs to make sure that they can pick up the stunts that they had trouble picking up all offseason or whatever. So he's a pretty easy choice on offense. It's just that I was also considering Kelvin Banks. I was also considering Tali Fuaga. I was also considering Dylan Radins, who will probably fill in for Trevor Penning if he's not ready in week 1. You know, it's hard to single out an offensive lineman, but if you're going to, it's Eric McCoy.
Moving on to the next topic, I'll say my next pick for this, because I don't know if they're counting on them. Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Who are you most eager to see in week 1? My number 1 choice here is Spencer Rattler. I want to see what he can do, see him lead the team, see if he can surprise people, see what Kellen Moore has in store for him. I think all of that makes that probably the most fascinating unveiling. I don't know that we're going to be surprised by anything we see, but maybe we will be. And if we are, I mean, man, that would be like fun to watch. So I'm hoping they got some rabbits in that hat. I want to see what Moore does with him, and I want to see how Rattler operates it.
I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks here. We've gotten glimpses of what he's looked like in the preseason, but it's usually been, 1 quarter's worth of snaps, and it isn't always against the ones, even though he's gone against some ones in the preseason, but it's vanilla defenses. I can't wait to have 70 snaps of reviewing Kelvin Banks and find out. I mean, like, there is a wide spectrum of, oh, shoot, he looks a little like a rookie and there's going to be growing pains this season, or, well, they've got one of their, they're going to have a guy on one of these NFL Network top 100 lists in future years, because they have none right now, and he probably has the highest potential to be a guy on their team that could be one of those guys over the next 5-10 years.
My true, in my brain, in my soul, number 1, I saved because I felt like the ADP on him was low enough that I could come back and get him on the backside of the draft. Kendre Miller.
I thought, look, he was in my queue. He was in my queue.
I knew I could get him. Man, I just want to see what he can do. Like that. That was one of the bigger stories of camp. One of the bigger bright spots of camp, and one of those things where it was like this could be a nice storyline in a season where possibly despair is out there. Whatever. Like, he's somebody that I think is going to be fun to watch this season. Had a lot of fun watching him throughout the preseason, throughout camp. The explosiveness. fact or fiction. Want to find out. I think it's going to be factual. I think he's a real player. I think he's always been a real player. I think he just needed to get healthy, get the runway cleared a little bit, maybe get in a different style of coaching system. And I think it's going to work for him this year. It's just to what level. But I think he's going to be an effective player in some form or fashion for this team.
If I couldn't agree more. He was absolutely in my queue. I'm really excited. Like, he's one of those. The spectrum is so wide. Like, he could be a real thing, but we've been fooled so many times before. Look, I would have picked Kool-Aid McKinstry for this category if I didn't pick him for the previous category. But I think you can probably say who I'm going to pick. Every time there's any category like this, I got to throw Chase Young in there somewhere. We're back to overhyping Chase. I'm back to overhyping Chase Young. You've been properly conservative. It's very similar to Kendre Miller. Like, we get enticed, but we have to actually see it on the field. So again, he has a chance to be one of the 2 or 3 best players on this team. He's supposed to be one of the 2 or 3 best players on this team. He's healthy. He's motivated. It's been a good offseason. He likes this defense. Now let's see it on the field.
Yeah, I'm definitely eager to see it. It's just a matter of to what level. Yep. I mean, I think Mike Kendre expectations are what my Chase Young expectations are, to where I think you're just like, if Kendre had 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, I feel like that's probably my expectation for him this year. I feel like that's like a 5.5 sack season, 6 sack season for an end. We'll see what he does, though. I mean, it's a new scheme. I think I hit it in my first one. I'm just going to throw the other guy into this, not a player, but just throw Staley in there. It's just the scheme.
I almost said Staley too. Yeah. I completely agree.
And that plays into Chase Young. Does he use them better? Is it more effective? Or these guys on the D line do them more? How are they disguising everything? What can they do to elevate some of these corners? Is what we saw in preseason kind of real or not? Did what we saw in camp, is it kind of real or not? I want to see all of it. I think my expectation for the season is, I think that there was probably a level of optimism around the defense that I think is probably going to deflate a little bit, but I think Staley's brilliance is going to be apparent, like, over and over again. Like, I think he just has a good scheme, and I think he figured out what didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
It's
going to be a tough test. I mean, Kyler he's not a one of one, but he is a very, very rare quarterback that you have to match up against. Trey McBride is one of the very, very few tight ends that threatens you that much. And we mentioned Marvin Harrison, James Conner, a solid run game. Like, this is a tough week 1 test for a defensive coordinator. So if he's able to overcome this week 1 test, his stock price is going to skyrocket, no doubt about
it. They're an interesting team because, like, you look at the results, you look where they rank in the league and all that stuff, and none of it scares you really. Right. Like, I did a video breakdown of just like all the different unique things they do on defense, and I think a lot of it is to hide a lack of talent to a certain degree. And last year they were like average in basically everything. And if you look at how they operate and somebody describes it, and even Kellen Moore, just like when he was talking about how they use their safeties, like, it's one of the more unique things. It's innovative, Like, it's scary looking. And then you look at how it applies to, like, maybe this team, and you're like, man, these are the ways that they could break them down. They did rebuild their defense. They rebuilt their front. They got Will Johnson at corner. I think they're going to be, like, better overall. Yeah. It's some of that stuff. They added Josh Sweat.
If you're the Arizona Cardinals, this is a must-win game for you.
Let me land the plane here real quick, though, because I think there's a lot of little pieces where you look at threads, and it's like they could hurt you this way, but like the accumulation of the parts, if you're looking at last year's results, where you probably expect them to finish this year, I don't think that they're like a big bad monster, but like it might pop out from underneath the bed and pull you under at some point, and get you on a sneak attack a little bit. And it's just like a lot of guys like Trey McBride, James Conner, Marvin Harrison, Kyler, if he gets out and does something. Buda Baker is a monster. Like, there's just a lot of little ways that they can get you, and I think against this team kind of makes them a little bit scarier. So we'll see how they handle all.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But they're a team that's easy to write off because they just always finish around 8-9 or 9-8. If you want to get over that hump and win that competitive division, you can't mess around when you get to face the Saints of your schedule.
They exist in a place in the league where it's like, if they just moved over to the South instead of the West, like they would probably be in much better shape. But they're an interesting team. They do a lot of things well, and it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with all these like Their team that I think if you were making a surprise list, so like they're on it. Like I don't think their circumstances probably get them to be the surprise team, but they're a team you look at them and you see a way that like if everything came together for them, they could end up being a problem at different times, especially in the NFC. Problem is that division. Anyways, we're gonna hit a quick break. We'll be right back. The Ochsner Orthopedics Walk-In Clinic is now open. Located at 1201 South Clearview Parkway, across from the Elmwood Shopping Center, this clinic provides convenient same-day care for a variety of orthopedic and sports injuries. No referral or appointment needed. Whether you need care for strains, sprains, fractures, sports injuries, or muscular pain, the team of orthopedic specialists offers care for patients 5 and older. Open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
in Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
For fans of saving money. For fans of big rewards. For fans of getting more for your money. There's Keesler Federal, the official credit union of the New Orleans Saints. Saints fans, open your free high-earning checking and see what it's like to get better rates, better returns, and better service. Join a winning team. Keesler Federal, the official credit union of the New Orleans Saints. Membership and credit eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. I don't play favorites with our sponsors on the show, but one of my favorites for sure is RV Masters. You guys have been watching our show lately and you've seen our awesome new van. That thing is decked out. And the best part about it is I took it up to RV Masters and I was like, this is what I want to do, but I had no idea how I wanted to do it or how to get it done. And they took care of it from start to finish, brought me out for updates, were giving me new ideas, and they made it exceed my wildest dreams. And they will do the same thing for you. RV Masters offers full service RV, motorhome, and travel trailer repair. They have preventative maintenance and service packages for your RVs, your AC, your generators. They specialize in solar and lithium upgrades, satellite TV, and Starlink. They'll take care of you if you get into a collision. Whatever you need, they got you. And I can speak from experience because they definitely had us on our new van. I cannot vouch for anyone more than I vouch for RV Masters. RV-Masters.com. Go check them out.
I believe it, I can see it. If it's in my sights, I achieve it. Ain't no leaving, no defeating. Show up, complete and repeat it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Get game ready. Play game ready scratch-offs and fast play from the lottery. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawing for a chance to win up to $1 million.
Yeah, they want me to quit, I can't stop it. I'm out of this world, I'm like a rocket. And you can never be us. We not afraid of the pressure, cause we good in the clutch. Yeah.
Get game ready. Play game ready scratch-offs and fast play from the lottery. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawing for a chance to win up to $1 million.
Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, is a longtime partner on this podcast, but the truth is, I was advertising them to my friends and everybody I knew long before they ever jumped on this show. And I'm going to tell you why. Every 6 months, my car insurance policy comes up, and every 6 months, I get a call from somebody from there telling me I need to change it or stay where I'm at. They're shopping my policy constantly to make sure I am getting the best possible deal. That means money in the bank. And those are the type of people you love because, look, we all live here. We all know how it is. The insurance rates are out of control. You need somebody watching your back. And they actually really do it. And I was with them before they ever asked me to be with them. So they are people that you need to be doing business with. And if you are going to look up their insurance, make sure you are looking for the Earhart Agency. Those are our guys. There's a lot of Chabert insurances, the Earhart Agency is the one you want. I can speak for them. Real life, real support, real good business, real money saved. Call them up today. Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. Hardhide flavored whiskey, Ponchatoula strawberry, and Chilton County peaches in your favorite bars, stores, and restaurants. Hardhide Chilton County Peach Whiskey is a blend of aged wheat whiskey, light American whiskey, and fresh Chilton County peaches from Alabama's Durbin Family Farms. And Hardhide Strawberry Whiskey tells the story of a small town famous for strawberry farming. A delicious natural strawberry-infused 86-proof whiskey for whiskey lovers. Just look for the red and orange bottles in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. Our next topic is presented by Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. If you're looking for insurance, make sure you call the Earhart Agency. They are the one that we work with, and they'll shop your policy. They'll get you the best prices, all that stuff. One insurance policy the Saints are not going to have. They're just going with collision this year and hoping it works out. Don't have full coverage anymore on those punt units. JT Gray got released. He signed with the Ravens. Really smart move for JT. Might get himself a Super Bowl ring. At least he's a contention for one. Kind of a surprise move in a sense. On another move, we had him on a list of like possible surprise cuts. There's two layers of the conversation here. One, really good player goes. Second part of it, Saints are in a place where development is probably more important than 2 yards of punt coverage for a 29-year player that's in the last year of his contract. There's a lot to unpack here. Where do you start?
Yeah, well, there is. I'm going to let you go first with the point you made. I think you made this point on social media, and you know, you certainly made it in print and on the podcast. But I mean, this is the loudest "we're in rebuilding mode" symbol that the Saints have made yet. And look, one move doesn't say that. I mean, they didn't also trade Demario Davis and Cam Jordan and Brandon Cooks or whatever. But I tend to agree with it. So I want you to expand on that part of it, which is the most, I think, important part of that one transaction is the Saints showed their hand.
A lot to unpack on that branch too. Like I wrote an article I put like this is the clearest move that they're rebuilding, and like some of the reaction to that on social like was like absolute outrage, like saying rebuilding is like the worst word in the world. It's just like whoa, like
Mickey Loomis was tweeting back at you.
no, but I think there's just layers to that too, and like we've made this point on this podcast before, maybe even just the last one. Rebuilding is not the same as tanking. Like that is not the same exact thing. Like, and I don't think this is a tank move. I think it's a rebuilding move in the sense that you want somebody like Jonas Anker or Velus or somebody that's probably going to be around for multiple years to be serving in this role beyond the guy that's 29 years old, going to be a free agent. You're probably not re-signing him. He probably has no desire to re-sign with you after this year. He'd rather be playing for the Ravens probably. And you know, just when you get to that point in your career, you're probably not coming back to lose games. Like you're like, hey, look, I'm 30. I want to get a ring. Like, where can I go get one? I think that's the move that he makes. But saying rebuilding doesn't mean that Alvin Kamara is getting traded tomorrow. That doesn't necessarily mean that. That is tanking. Like if they get rid of all those guys right now, that is tanking. That is different than going out and trying to find a way to get your third-round pick snaps on the special teams unit while also serving as the understudy on safety and potentially getting a guy in the pipeline to come up and replace your 29-year-old gunner backup safety. Like Jonas Anker should have every opportunity to do everything that JT Gray was doing. Is JT Gray better at it? Without question. Yeah. Probably the best special teams player in the whole entire NFL. But getting Sanker in a role to where he's developing, where he's doing those things, where he's your guy for the next 7-8 years, and he's doing two things, is probably more valuable in the long term than maybe protecting 1.5 yards, 2 yards of field position on every punt. Like if you're not winning 10 games, like that probably isn't your primary objective right now. So I think it makes a lot of sense. On the other hand, I think if you're Alvin Kamara, if you're Demario Davis, if you're like, you're pissed that this guy goes. Yeah. Like he's a good player. If you're anybody in that locker room, you're probably pissed off that he goes. And I just think it's distinctly different though than maybe trading off all your pieces. Now, the willingness to move on from JT Gray, that at least puts the thought in my mind that, like, in October, if they're 0-6.
There's no sacred cows, yeah.
If you're 0-6 and now your locker room is actually knowing, like, hey, look, this, like, we're in trouble. Season's not going the way we want it to. Probably not going to make the playoffs. I think at that point, like, when you trade guys off, like, I don't think it's culturally as damaging if you were to do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you go and you trade one of your star players right now before the season starts, that's your coach, that's your general manager saying, I watched camp and you guys suck. Like, that destroys your culture. There's no coming back from that. But I think if you got to a point where you're 0-6 and you trade off a guy that's been around for a while because season's not going anywhere, he's not going to be there beyond that, I think the guys in the locker room at that point are like, all right, like, we aren't a very good team right now. This makes sense, and we're getting an asset back that helps us in the future, that maybe helps us get out of it. And I don't think it has to erode your whole culture. So there's just a lot of steps to this. I think JT Gray is a signal that, yes, there are no sacred cows. That's a great way to put it. But I think it also opens up the possibility for that stuff. But I just think where they're at right now, like, a young guy doing these things just makes a lot more sense and like, fan favorite, culture built. Like, JT Gray's a guy that, like, you cheer for. Like, he came out of nowhere. He worked himself into a role. He worked himself to being, like, potentially the best in the league at that role. And seeing him go, like, sucks. But it's also where they're at, and I think where they're going. I mean, guys that are 29, 30 years old, I just don't, I think they need to get younger people doing these things. And that's a spot where I think it makes sense to try to do it.
Yeah, look, I think it was easy to praise or recognize and agree with decisions like going with the younger linebackers, Jalen Ford and Isaiah Stallbert over Nephi Sewell and DeMarco Jackson. I said a million times, I'm so glad they didn't waste time bringing in some 30-year-old backup quarterback when you can get these young guys the snaps. It's just way harder when you put a real name to it. Like, I didn't want them going out and signing other teams' JT Grays, but JT Gray is a known person, and I think there is a real harm in, like you said, this is not tanking, but when you have Alvin Kamara tweeting WTF 3 days before the first game of the season, and Tyrann Mathieu tweeting what the hell is going on 3 days before the first game of the season, that that's a bold move that could blow up in your face. So totally understand and agree with the thinking behind it. Go with the younger guys, but it's a reminder of what a careful and delicate balance it is between the two.
In, like, their decision shouldn't be based on the fans or whatever, like that, like reaction, all that stuff. You need to make the moves you believe in that are going to get you to a better future. And, but, like, it becomes a harder sell when you release them, and it's not about who creating the roster spot. It was about creating a role for somebody already on the roster. But, like, when they release them and then they sign Jake Haener to that spot, and, like, the fans,
feels like a 1-for-1.
The fans have already decided that that's something that they're against. Like that makes it, a fan favorite goes to a guy who I think is probably unfairly painted. And if you're trying to have a culture in that quarterback room and create an atmosphere for development, I think Haener's an asset for your starter. But, like, I think that becomes a, like, what are they doing type thing. Alvin's, but look, those are the moves that are going to be unpopular with your players. Like, Alvin should be pissed about it. Like these are, they went through war together. He watched them come up in it. Like, the fans should be pissed about it. This is a fan favorite. Long shot, makes the team, becomes the best. Like, these are the ones that hurt. And I think there's going to be other things that hurt along the way. But, if you're, I think for too long, and I've said this before, I think for too long, I think that they allowed sentiment to influence decisions with roster spots, roster roles, roster depth chart spots, who's playing, who's not. Like, I think sentiment became part of the decision making. And, I think you have to do things that hurt sometimes to get out of a situation that hurts and is going to continue to hurt unless you're willing to make hard decisions that you think set you up for the long run. So I applaud Kellen Moore, like, for having the courage to make moves that he knows is going to piss people off because he thinks in the long run it's going to make him smile more. And we'll see if he's right or wrong about those decisions. But, like, you have to be willing to hurt people's feelings, I think, to get out of this.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's tough to ask them to do in practice, but it's overall overarching what a lot of people, including I think me and you, want to see this team doing in general, realizing where they exist right now.
Yeah. Another thing they did this week, signed Thomas Dimitroff to like an advisory role with the team in the front office.
That's another one that's so funny. I feel like the overwhelming reaction I saw was unpopular, but I think it's what you want to see this team doing. Like, they realize that some of the things they've been doing aren't working, and this is two guys in a row now, in Dave Ziegler last year and Thomas Dimitroff this year, that had no ties whatsoever to this team. Both came up in the Patriots organization. Everyone agrees they do things right. Was obviously with the rival Falcons during the best decade in the history of that franchise. He was an executive of the year, took that team to the Super Bowl, started his own analytics company working outside of the league. It's the kind of person you want to bring into the building and say, hey, do you have any ideas that are different from our ideas? Because look where we are right now. But yeah, I mean, there's also, I'm not going to, the retread stigma of that's two, fired GMs that failed elsewhere before that are coming in. Obviously, they also brought back Randy Mueller last year, who did have ties to the organization.
Yes, that's three.
So you'd rather see young, innovative, brand new thinkers. But I mean, if the criticism of this team is they just keep doing the same things over and over again, how can you not, want to see them bring somebody in who has a completely different viewpoint and life experience than everyone else in the building?
I saw like a graphic, like they were like third in the league of like all guys that got drafted that went on to make like all pro teams or whatever. Like he had a pretty good run there. You got him to a Super Bowl 2. Was he there?
No, they were a 1 seed once, 2 NFC championship games when they weren't the
NFC
1
champion.
seed. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. He had a decent run there. Look, it's just one of them things where when you're a team that's not winning games, everything you do is questioned and who's making the decisions and all that stuff. So, like, they just got to win games, and then you do stuff like this, and it's applauded.
If Howie Roseman brought him in, everybody would be like, smart.
When you're losing, you're searching for answers, and so you got to you get applauded for stuff when you start winning games. Like, okay, they brought in Dimitroff, and that turned it around. That was a brilliant decision. But like, if they don't turn it around, then it's like, well, they had to bring in all these guys and they couldn't figure it out. So like, it's always, everything gets done on like results-based analysis. Outside of that, if you are in a situation where you're trying to get better and you're bringing like more brain power, I like the exploration. We'll see if it leads anywhere.
You mentioned Jake Haener coming back. I think it's a little weird that they did it because they already know for a fact they could get him on their practice squad. Like, the only risk of trying to put him on your practice squad is, does anyone else take him? They knew no one else was going to take him. But if you want him active on game days, it's a free active spot for the emergency third quarterback. And then the two guys they added to the practice squad, linebacker Eku Leota, he was with the Steelers before. He's not the headliner of that, though. It's Tommy Mellett, the quarterback turned wide receiver. Exciting to see him somewhere in the mix, or.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what he can do. He practice squad guy, going to play wide receiver. Probably try to figure out some creative things with him.
Not Taysom 2.0 though. However, he's more of a wide receiver than
nobody's. Nobody's Taysom until they taste. Like, there hasn't been a Taysom like 1.1 yet. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what he can do. I mean, a practice squad guy. Like, odds of seeing him, like, he just got cut by somebody.
And they kept
kind of low.
All those receivers after adding Trey Palmer too. So.
Yeah, the Haener thing's kind of interesting. It makes me wonder if there were like birds circling at all around that. B, I think just, in that room or whatever, like, it's probably, like, if you want him to be like an asset to your team or whatever, probably not making him feel like the only loser in the room is the only guy that lost like something in the room is probably, or the guy that lost the most in the room is probably of value in some form or fashion. I don't know. Like, you do have to manage like all of that stuff too if you're running the organization. So I don't know.
At least they didn't put an or next to his name on the depth chart this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't know. Like, he was like he played like the fourth fewest snaps in the preseason and they had the or next. So like, it's just kind of like weird. Yeah. But heading into our next topic presented by Aaron Rose. When will the Saints win their first game?
Yeah, so Kevin and I on the members only, we did this for the third year in a row, the scheduled draft. We took turns picking the games on the schedule, try to end up with the best record at the end of the season, best Saints record at the end of the season. I've gotten blown away on that 2 years in a row. I'm not very good at it. But an offshoot of that is if you had to nail this, if you had to get this right, you have to pick the exact right game where the Saints are going to get their first win in the schedule. They are at least 6.5-point underdogs in each of their first 4 games. Versus Arizona, versus San Francisco, at Seattle, at Buffalo. Then they come home and face the Giants and Patriots. I don't think they're going to start 0-4. I think they're going to steal one. But I'm still taking Giants week 5. I can't pick any of the first 4. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, but I'm not putting my name next to any one of these. I'm not going to be like, I think they're going to beat Seattle, and then they go out there and lose 34-10.
Yeah.
But it's the NFL. Like, teams often win a game they aren't supposed to win. Like, this week is, out of those 4, this week is probably their best chance to win one.
Especially because it's week 1.
It's week 1. Nobody knows what they're going to look like. Yep. Nobody knows what they're going to do. They could come out in surprise, get an early lead. You got the gold end zones. You got the gold jerseys on. People are excited. Like, you can get the building behind you. Like, the best, if you want to get the squiggly lines going in Kyler's head and in Gannon's head, like, this is the best chance to have that happen. And, man, I'm looking at this thing.
You picking it? You putting your nickel down?
No, I'm not picking it. I'm looking right now, though. It says tickets as low as $33. Like, that's crazy. I would like it logically though. Like I would probably have to either go New York or New England.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was listening to Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal doing their over-unders for the entire NFL list, going through the schedule. They were talking. He's a huge Patriots fan. Obviously, he looks at things through the Patriots. He's going through the Patriots schedule. How many they're going to win? And then you hear like, well, they're going to beat the Saints. They're going to like every team on the Saints schedule is chalking that up as a win, but they are going to win 5 of them. Like, it just happens in the NFL. They're going to beat someone they're not supposed to beat. And it'll probably happen in September. They will probably win one game in September. But which one? Yeah, Arizona and Seattle would have been the 2 I circled around for some reason, and not San Francisco.
In individually selecting games, one by one, and I'm not trying to stick my thumb in any of our listeners' eye. Like, they're Saints fans, obviously. Like, I'm not trying to troll you or anything. Like, I don't know that I would be able to place real money individually on any singular game today, before we see what the coach is going to do with the quarterback and how everything fits. Like, so if you are like a Bill Simmons or somebody from a distance or a fan of any one of these teams, I would pick them against the Jets for sure.
That me and Kevin came to that resolution a little too late, but like we were picking games late in the season. The Saints should be better late in the season. We also realized the Jets will probably just be openly they have a good chance of being openly tanking for the number 1 pick in the draft by the end of the year too.
I'd probably pick them against the Jets. I might pick them against Tennessee today, but like nothing else. Like, but a lot of these games would be. But yeah, if you're looking at it from a distance, it's like, oh, they got a new coach and who's their quarterback? Like, like up close, there's ways that I'm looking at it and I'm like, I could see how this could work, but I want to see it first. And I could see something that could happen to change my like, oh yeah, they'll definitely beat the Giants. But like, as of right now, that's probably the most winnable game in the first 5. Yeah. And I'm apprehensive about it because it's just like, they have some players and their quarterback has won games in the NFL. Yeah. Like, we haven't seen one of these quarterbacks win a game in the NFL.
The truth is the Saints will probably win one of their first 4 and then lose to both the Giants and New England at home. Like, that's how the NFL works. The first one I sought out on the schedule is when are they hosting Carolina? Carolina is still I gotta see it to believe it team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Saints finish third in this division.
Yeah. I'd pick them again.
They don't host Carolina till week 15 though, so
I'd sprinkle a little on Carolina, even at Carolina. But like. Yeah, I mean, like, kind of looking at it from the beginning, it's just tough. It's tough to pick them until I see a quarterback win a game. Like, show me you have the ability to win an NFL game, and then like we'll start the conversation from them. But as of today, it's just kind of like gonna wait and see what it looks like. All right, we're gonna hit a break, and we'll be back with the question of the day. Big news from the home team, introducing our newest sponsor, the Mortgage Brothers. With over 30 years of combined experience, the Mortgage Brothers are the quarterbacks of home lending, calling the right plays to get you across the goal line. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned vet, they'll coach you through every down and make sure you feel like part of the team. They're backed by Cross Country Mortgage, the #1 retail lender in the nation, so there's no loan playbook they can't run. FHA, VA, conventional, RD, and more. They're lifelong season ticket holders, local guys who know the field and your market. and their online application takes less than 10 minutes. Why fumble your mortgage with some online lender who's never even watched your team play? Stick with the Mortgage Brothers, the trusted pros who play to win. Mention NOF and get $500 back in lender credit toward your closing costs. That's money back in your pocket when it counts. Visit mortgagebros.money and start shopping with confidence. Because with Mortgage Brothers, it's always no flags, no fumbles, just smooth closings every single time.
Score big with kickoff combos at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Don't pass on your choice of our seafood combos or our slider specials. Served with a side of garlic herb fries. Run in now for specials starting at $9.99 at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I get Gordon?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I fight for the people of Southeast Louisiana every day. I got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $250,000. Another client was hit by a big truck and needed back surgery. I got them $700,000, and they deserved every single penny.
That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't I get Gordon?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, just call me, New Orleans. Get it done.
Call 504-800-8888.
You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolettes, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street. It is now time for the Get Gordon question of the day, presented by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Question is, would you be surprised if Devon Vele outsnaps Brandon Cooks in week one?
I would be surprised in week one for a couple of reasons. One is that Cooks is so established, but Kellen Moore really gave some insight when they signed Vele. He kept comparing it to when the Eagles added Jahan Dotson last year, right around the same time of year, I think, late in the preseason. And they said they were real gradual with him. They gave him sort of one role at first and then expanded that as the season went on. So I think early on we're going to see Vele in a specified role that will gradually increase as it goes on. But if this question was like more catches in 2025, then I might lean Vele.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The only way that I could maybe see it like being even is if you tell me that there's a lot of 3-and-outs. Like, because I think he's probably your guy out there on third down. I don't think you're an 11 in every single snap. Like, it would have to be an extremely, extraordinarily unsuccessful day for the offense. Or, like, boy, they got down to the red zone and they ran a ton of plays down there and couldn't get in. Like, you know, that would be another way that I could see him, like those tight situations. But I think smart money's probably on Cooks, given that we haven't seen him. You know, he's barely practiced here.
First of all, I am telling you, there's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs. Book it. But what if there's a lot of 2-minute? Who are the Saints' 11 players if they're running a lot of hurry up drives and not changing out their personnel? Is Cooks on the field for that?
I think it would probably be Cooks for that. Yeah. I mean, I think that takes like chemistry, knowing what you're doing, knowing all the hand signals, the verbiage, and all that stuff like that. That's probably, you know, advanced beyond the you get the basics first, and then that comes within it. I'm gonna guess Cooks though for sure. I think it's probably Cooks in this.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's going to do it for today's show. We'll talk to you next time.